We ended off last week with Koichi somewhat agreeing to work with Knuckleduster, mainly to keep him from beating up innocent people. But anyway, Koichi and the gang have to deal with Aizawa, who mistakes them for villains, and Knuckleduster's attitude doesn't help. If you wanted more of the exhausted teacher showing off his skills before he lost a leg in his eye, well, now's your chance. Also, as usual, no one knows who Aizawa is except those who know his low-key style. Knuckleduster runs straight towards Eraserhead like a bull, but Aizawa has the upper hand when it comes to restraining and agility. And even after drawing blood, Aizawa's leg is caught by Knuckleduster, and he's nearly taken down, if not for like his smooth athletic moves. It's actually a pretty cool exchange between them to show both of their skills. Knuckleduster and Eraserhead actually have a lot in common, like in terms of their views on hero society and their priorities when it comes to taking villains down. In a way, Aizawa's quirk makes everyone quirkless, unless it's, like a heteromorph. But remember that otaku dude from episode 1 that had hero figures in his briefcase? PopStep notices that she's seen him at many villain attack events, so they chase after him to check his tongue. I know that sounds weird out of context, but it's for Trigger use. But anyway, the Three Stooges, now with Trigger in their system, fly in to intercept the two young Vigilantes, still set on getting revenge. Meanwhile, the confrontation makes Aizawa realize Knuckleduster's just a super strong, quirkless dude, when Eraser did nothing to weaken him. Seeing as that's the case and the trio's not causing harm, he has to let them go. He's off duty anyway. That doesn't mean that he won't be keeping an eye on them when he's on the clock just in case. He even intends to let the police know. Until the three looking to catch PopStep and Koichi cause more mayhem. One of them looks like Blanca now too, and the other's head is on fire, and the third one is just like a flying lizard or a dinosaur or something. But guess what? Knuckleduster comes in with a brick, of all things, and smashes the fire guy, then throws it at the spike dude and knocks him down for good measure, making his blackened tongue obvious to everyone. They focus on catching up to PopStep, but the porcupine doesn't know when to quit, so Aizawa puts him down next, making sure to remind us that he's not supposed to be on duty. The poor overworked guy that he is. But maybe he forgot about the flying lizard, like I did. And that's when he kicks PopStep, who had almost caught up to the sketchy office guy. His briefcase falls open with the same three figures dropping out again, but this time instead of just putting them back, he grabs the All Might one and injects himself with the chemical inside. And the detail of having red eyes definitely confirms that he's more than just a simple office worker. Not to mention the long black tongue. Yep, another Trigger user. Once he grows taller than some buildings, no one is safe from his reach. Not PopStep and not the dinosaur villain. And if you were missing Kaiju number 8 and their destructive monsters, well, this villain is for you. Somehow, Knuckleduster and Koichi still haven't caught up, which makes it worse that no heroes have shown up yet. And this giant dude is like a weaker version of Gigantomachia, but he could still do some damage if he steps on the people nearby, I guess. Interestingly enough, his quirk is called Playtime, which makes sense when he starts using everything he grabs like toys to swing around. Knuckleduster swings in like Batman, but gets whacked for his troubles. The villain loses his balance, launching PopStep in the air where she has no way to jump off a foothold. It's always in those dire moments that Koichi doesn't worry about the limitations of his quirk and speeds in for the rescue, this time using it to slide up a building and provide a place for her to jump off of. The soundtrack during this moment is really nice and inspiring too. Can't play it in the video, of course, but you've seen the episode and you've heard it. That also means that he has nowhere to catch himself, and maneuvers away to fall in the trash like he saw Knuckleduster do previously. But the danger isn't over, especially when a giant foot is about to crush him. But Aizawa makes it in time, as he's known to do, and erases the gigantification quirk to stop him. If we didn't know any better, we could easily lump Eraserhead in with the Vigilantes from the way he acts and fights. And at the very least, he acknowledges the good work the trio did to stall the villain, since this is something that happens, all too often. But this brings up the same issues surrounding Vigilantes, of preferring to ask for forgiveness than, for permission, when it comes to doing hero work illegally. Knuckleduster then disappears into the darkness all cool-like. That leaves us with PopStep and Koichi having a heart-to-heart. The thing with Koichi, and even PopStep points it out, is that he's too negative. He's constantly finding excuses or reasons not to become a hero or to do hero work. And a lot of viewers feel that his lack of confidence can get tiresome. Especially if you compare him to Deku, who had no quirk and still rushed in to save people when he knew it was right. But since PopStep is addressing this flaw of his early on, maybe we can look forward to not seeing so much doubt from Koichi in the next episodes, possibly. But anyway, coming out of the shadows, Knuckleduster is ready to play his master role, and even figured out why his quirk let him almost die when he saved PopStep. Koichi, as usual, doesn't want to be mentored by him, but also can't deny that he's called Knuckleduster Master twice already. But as someone who's used to the bumpers in My Hero Academia, this Vigilantes one is pretty sick, with the bright neon colors and shadows. I wonder what color scheme they'll use for Knuckleduster if he gets his own version in the future. I can't deny the humor in seeing Jotaro and Cyclops have a fight in public, both looking like old men and actually being in middle school. Thankfully, PopStep is there to make sure it's not getting too bad and telling Koichi all the details. In a flashback, we find out that Koichi has acquired some new gear to protect his body when he uses his quirk, and even slides in like a proper hero. Until he slips on his quirk and lands in the garbage again. If the show doesn't stop using this gag, I'm going to assume it's meant to say that Koichi is just, trash. Also, how is he sliding when his quirk isn't meant to work unless he has 3 points of contact? Anyway, when the middle school brats confirm that he's fine, we jump back to the flashback, and it's time for Koichi to have a new hero name that sounds cooler than Nice Guy. And after doing some weird movements, very fluid animation by the way, and a pose that reminds me of the Crimson Demons from Konosuba, he reveals his new name, the Crawler. And for sticking his nose in their fight, he gets beaten down by the Dew. But when Knuckleduster drops in and starts winding up his arm, I fear for their lives. And likewise, Koichi jumps in to hold him back from the pounding he wants to do. He just likes punching people since it makes him feel good. Not very heroic in my opinion, but I guess he doesn't really have to be as long as he gets the job done. And with this going nowhere, PopStep leaps in and gives them some autographs instead. Then a hardening quirk user, not nearly as good as Kirishima, shows up, having used Trigger to strengthen himself. So Crawler and Knuckleduster have to get to work, and PopStep tells the boys about Trigger and asks for them to share any info if they hear about it. Interestingly, she calls them volunteers instead of vigilantes. The heroes take their sweet time showing up again, so after a good beating, they leave the instant villain behind with a battered face. Despite Aizawa appreciating their help, Tsukauchi's not impressed with the vigilantism and seems focused on making sure laws are followed properly. He also seems to have a more serious neo-noir feel to his character in this than he did in My Hero Academia. Thanks to the middle schoolers, Koichi is now known as the Crueler, and Knuckleduster is just a rough old man. They'll eventually get it right, but what's important is the villain coming next time. I won't spoil it for you, and I guess for myself either, but I hear he's going to play a big role in the Vigilante story. So definitely tune in if you want to see some proper villains show up. And personally, I'm tired of the one-and-done criminals, so, let's get to a deeper storyline. But anyway, let me know what you think about this episode in the comments, guys, and look forward to next week's episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.